What's something that society generally accepts as normal, but when you think about it, is actually very strange? We store our dead. We line them up in neat little rows, in neat little boxes, where it's cool. Why the heck do we store our dead? In case we need them later, obviously. Honestly, when you think about how most foods must have been discovered, it's remarkable how we were able to eat anything. Take olives for example. Raw, they're extremely bitter and almost completely inedible, yet someone was like, you know what this needs? To be soaked in brine for days first. I mean, how many things did that guy put in brine first before he landed on olives? Or bread? It was discovered in Egypt in 8000 BC because they were brewing beer. The yeast from the beer was left out and in the heat rose and created sourdough. But for that to happen, we're talking leaving this paste out for days. And someone saying, yeah, I'll eat that. The garter ceremony of any wedding, like, here, let me remove this band signifying your virginity with my teeth. Meanwhile your grandfather cheers on in the background. When parents and grandparents meet a long-term significant other and start saying give me grandchildren, it's basically saying have lots of sex with my child. Just weird to me. Oh man, I remember mine and my husband's wedding day. His dad went up to him at the end of the night, shook his hand, then put his hand on my husband's shoulder and said, don't stop at one. Except he wasn't talking about children. He was talking about the big O. Beach attire. Everyone at the beach is essentially hanging out in their underwear. Some wearing less publicly than what they'd normally wear, hidden away under clothes for the sake of decency. As long as there's sand and water, it's totally cool to walk around in brightly colored undies. Spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on a wedding dress that will only be worn once, while the groom rents a tuxedo and returns it after the wedding. Why the difference? I'm buying my tux, however a tux can be worn again and it not be weird. Therefore I do agree with the sentiment of your comment. Clapping, you're effectively hitting your hand over and over to congratulate someone, yet if I hit any other part of my body it's weird. Just picture someone getting up and slapping their stomach repeatedly after a play or concert. Up until now I was alone, but buffets like Golden Corral, the amount of bacteria and germs exchanged in these places has always appalled me. But I think a few more people care now. Okay, but it's so good. Also gotta build up my immune system one way or another. Imagine if circumcision never existed and was first proposed today. How many men would be signing up? How many parents would be doing it to their newborn sons? They'd think it was crazy. This is an only Jewish, Muslim and American thing though. In Europe and most of East Asia this isn't done unless you're Muslim or Jewish. Sending money using paper checks. I know before the internet it may have been practical, but businesses expect me to just send a physical piece of paper that has my full bank account, routing number, along with my full name and address all in unencrypted plain text through the mail. There is literally no security on checks. It's insane, and I hope the acceptability of using them wanes as new generations grow up. Almost no one uses them in the UK. They were dumb as all heck. That our most comfortable clothing is not socially acceptable to wear out on a daily basis. Literally the only thing that is keeping us as a group from pajama level comfort at work and school daily is groupthink that it signals laziness and lack of self-respect. Table manners. Other than chewing with your mouth closed, none of the supposedly polite things to do at the dinner table make any sense to me. No elbows, proper cutlery placement, not wearing a hat. How did those things become considered indecent? That the average wedding cost is so high, like $35k for one day, and most of that money is spent on the party and not the ceremony. My siblings had their weddings for about $5k and $15k respectively, and they were still really nice events. I can't imagine how normal, not rich, people spend $35k on average. Most nursery rhymes are really messed up if you take them literally, like when a bunch of kids did surgery on a sleeping man and filled his stomach with stones and drowned. So many of the old children's stories are dark as heck. The Little Mermaid ends up cutting her fin in half to make legs, and dies. In The Little Red Riding Hood, a wolf leaves the grandmother's blood and meat for the girl to eat. I'm sure there are loads more, but they're the ones that I can think of right now. Sleep. Oh man. I have done so many things that I need to stop doing things. stay still and let my brain turn off all non-essential parts until I feel like doing things again. Explaining sleep to an alien or something. I'm going to go lay down in the other room and become unconscious for the next 8 hours. See ya. I'd say drinking alcohol. Consuming a substance that lowers inhibitions and has such potential for damage and addiction seems to go against our self-preservation instincts. Animals consume alcohol too. In Eastern Europe where I live you can see dead birds lying on the ground in November. The reason why is because they eat overripe berries which contain alcohol and fall on the ground totally smashed, then they freeze to death at night. We have volunteers who pick drunken birds from the ground. Alcohol consumption is totally normal in our world. How alcohol is globally accepted. If you change alcohol for liquid drug it becomes kinda weird. Examples. At the restaurant, the waiter asked us what kind of liquid drug we would like before our meal. At 16 my dad offered me my first liquid drug. When you receive guests, it's courtesy to offer them some liquid drug. Eric Weinstein made a good point about this. The weird phrase drugs and alcohol doesn't make sense. Alcohol is a drug. It's all just drugs. When he's having people over for some wine he'll ask if they prefer red drugs or white drugs. Funerals that include viewing of the dead, especially those who were very ill etc. Lordy, she'd lost so much weight. He just don't look all that natural to me. Look how good she looks and I swear I heard the accident tore her all up. Some funerals that do not include the viewing. They say it's grief that makes people act strange. I'd lay odds that it's more likely to be greed. Showers. They're like our own personal little rainfalls we can turn on whenever we deem necessary, and there are miles and miles of piping to run every single shower. It just weirds me out. Some way or another, our showers are all connected. If you heard of an alien species and they used a device to portray a simulation of them killing each other for their entertainment you would think they are crazy. Yet, we play shooter video games all the time for fun. Escape from Tarkov is teaching me how to PWN you noobs when society falls. I decorate a tree that is slowly going to die over the course of a month. On the day before I throw it out, I put presents underneath it. As soon as the present opening event is over I despise the tree and only wish it gone. I repeat this event every year. The weirdest thing is that you choose to do it in April. Being 18 and carrying a weapon to go to war and potentially kill another human being, but not being able to get tipsy in your home country. Oh, that's just part of their culture as an excuse for parents that think it's acceptable to completely cut their offspring out of the family when they won't do what they want. Open casket funerals. Pretty much you, your family, and your friends go to a centralized location to sit in chairs, look at a box that contains the body of your loved one. I get that it might help people to say goodbye one last time, and help with their grief, but it's still really weird when you think about it. You don't really know how to act. Are you supposed to cry, reconnect with relatives you barely see? Are you supposed to just remain quiet and just stare at your dead loved one? Personally, I don't want to have a funeral. I could care less what happens to my body. Dig a hole, and throw my body into the ground for all I care. I don't want people to remember me as a cold, stiff, dead corpse. Instead, I want to have a living funeral. I want to be there to joke around with everyone and reminisce on the good old days. I want people to remember me laughing and with a smile on my face. The somewhat recent revival of mob justice, now mostly online and not in the streets, has not only been normalized, but praised. A lot of people nowadays seem to think it's totally fine to take matters into your own hands to try and bring about justice, invoking often anonymous mobs of people to dogpile others online and try to ruin their lives, as if that has ever been healthy for humanity or righted any wrongs. Drinking milk from other animals, eating the fermented fur of that milk, yogurt, eating that when it goes off, cheese, eating that when it's covered in mold, blue cheese. Yeah, we eat moldy, gone off, fermented cow udder excretion. It's really strange when you think about it. I came here to say this. Moldy, rotten, curdled mammary secretions. Yum. Concerts. Imagine if birds did that. Like a single bird chirping in front of thousands of other birds repeating the exact same melody. Or all the birds in the crowd going apeshit for this one single bird that chirps that one super catchy chirp that all the birds can't stop chirping. It blows my mind that we humans created the concept of a celebrity. Just one person. Let's make sure almost every other person knows they exist. It's so bizarre to think we sleep next to hundreds of other people at night, but we are separated by walls. Like my neighbor who I haven't said a word to in 3 years rests her head a few meters from mine every single night and I have zero clue who she is or anything about her and her life. I think about your second paragraph frequently. People cutting off dogs' tails, declawing them and clipping their ears. I think you're a disgusting human being if you do that. Raves. Just being there with strangers. No talking. Listening to very strange repetitive music. In a very dark room and weirdest of all, dancing like crazy together. Dancing is weird anyway if you think about it. I knew this guy in the military who was Nigerian. We're at this training exercise in the middle of nowhere. The facilities are like an open picnic spot, a male barracks, a female barracks and showers in the middle, but it's all outside and separated. We're having a meeting in the guy's barracks, because for some reason it's okay for the females to come in there and not vice versa because army. Dude walks in from the showers with a towel in his hand and nothing but boxers on. And we all freak out like, dude, you can't just walk in here in your underwear in front of all these females. And he looks at us confused, but it's just like shorts. But, I mean, yeah, but. He's right, you know. How many people would make a religion if today 13-year-old girl gave birth to Messiah, claiming that its father is the god? How many people would actually be okay with that? People would of course assume that the whole "this is God's children" thing is a result of trauma, fear of informing the public about the man behind this, some kind of Stockholm syndrome or mental illness, etc. Only eating certain foods at certain times. Why is it considered weird to eat steak for breakfast and cereal for dinner? It's not like our taste buds are physically altered by the time of day. If anything, drinking orange juice in the morning should be looked down upon, seeing as how repulsive it tastes after brushing your teeth. I think it comes from an idea that heavy meals are harder to eat in the morning, so you feel a little sick. Breakfast tends to be the lightest meal of the day to avoid that icky feeling. That's probably why breakfast for dinner is more normal than dinner for breakfast. It just doesn't feel great on your stomach right after waking up. There's this overriding mood in the zeitgeist that abusing substances chronically is fun, cool, down to earth, and makes you an accessible, chill person. The reality is, people who use substances regularly to change their internal mood are deeply anxious, and completely the opposite of the image that is portrayed by chronic users. And yet, if you are not a user of mood-altering substances, alcohol included, you are generally looked at as a weirdo. Christian communion. If eating your Lord's body and drinking his blood was done in the woods, it would be witchcraft. Yep. Or if you ate anybody else's body and drank their blood, we'd be Satanists Heathland or put on trial with no hope of a plea deal. Injuring, humiliating. I live in country where post-Soviets behavior still alive because of older generation, and it's normal to call kids in schools dumb or not good enough. It's normal when parent teacher says, why you did it worse than your classmates? Are you stupid? Why can't you get it? It sucks. But everyone who's older than 40 thinks it's normal. It's freaking not. They just don't want to understand. Their behavior is ill. It's atrocious. The fact adults make kids believe that each winter a fat grandpa sneaks into their house on the 25th of December in the middle of the night and leaves presents for them if they were generally good that year. It's kinda weird to think about the concept. Singing happy birthday. I mean, WTF. We just all gather around this person who's aged a year. We all stare at them and smile like we're in a cult. And then we sing this random repetitive song that we all know. It is so weird. The fact that they then blow out some fire on a sweet treat and we all clap just blows my mind. Curse words aren't socially acceptable in a lot of places. They're just words, but people deemed them unfit for regular conversation under certain circumstances. Really strange to me. Hopping in a machine powered by exploding gasoline a foot or so away from your crotch that demands all of your attention to operate it only to bring it to the closest Burger King for some of those $1 nuggets that were definitely extruded out of a chicken's butthole, but it's breaded and it's cheap, so you throw that shiz into some BBQ sauce and don't think about it. My favorite variant of this is taking that thing that you learned to ride around on as a child and attaching the aforementioned exploding gasoline machine to it to travel at ludicrous speeds. Marriage. You love someone so much that you legally bind yourself to them, and then have a witness watch you sign a document for the government that confirms you will be together until you die. The bride's father then gives away his daughter and she takes your family name. What in the actual frick? It's like adoption, but if a kid adopted another parent's kid to be their sibling. Superfluous sex in TV shows. Unless it's plot important like in The Terminator. Why show it when you can never show the full experience on TV? Is it supposed to be arousing? If so, why wouldn't I just watch P? We're grossed out by breast milk but won't think about drinking cow or goat milk. Human milk is the best milk for humans, at least when in infancy. Think absolute nothing about being 100% in control of a 1-ton chunk of metal moving at 70 miles per hour, dodging other people that are doing the same thing. It's about the most dangerous activity any of us ever do, yet we worry about terrorism or our plane crashing. The fact that planes just fly around doing their thing. When you think about the fact that their metal box is held up by air, it sounds unbelievable, but the physics of it etc of course make perfect sense. Some of the bones in our jaw fall out during childhood and we even develop strange rituals surrounding when it happens. Our teeth fall out. Eating embryos of other animals is perfectly fine. That guy who discovered vegetables, he dug up some plant and ate the roots. Watching other people getting hurt or enjoying themselves is exiting because others said so. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.